For this month, Ryan asked me on Patreon to review the family comedy 9 Lives, which stars Kevin Spacey as a businessman who is magically transformed into a cat. Considering the current state of Spacey's film career, I imagine that's the aspect of this movie that stands out to people. But what fascinates me instead is that 9 Lives was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, of all filmmakers. Sonnenfeld has had quite the notable career, starting as a cinematographer for the Coen brothers, and he also filmed Big, When Harry Met Sally, and Misery. He then became a successful director with The Addams Family, Get Shorty, and Men in Black. So I wonder what enticed him to direct a 90s-esque family movie where the central premise is a man turned into a cat. I say 90s-esque as this does seem to have been born from that familiar playbook of a workaholic parent who isn't around his children that much, and has something magical happen to teach him a lesson. These were a dime a dozen, with a parent either not being able to lie, or turned into a snowman, or inheriting the position of Santa Claus. Does 9 Lives do anything funny with its concept? Not really. A lot of the jokes are stale cat gags, like, oh, Kevin Spacey cat doesn't want to use the litter box, or Kevin Spacey cat doesn't want to eat cat food, or Kevin Spacey cat is mocking a pair of dogs. I laughed at one joke, and it was him trying to write a note with his paws. That got a chuckle out of me. This is actually the second time I've watched 9 Lives, so yes, that's almost 3 hours I've devoted to watching this film. Revisiting it for this review, I was surprised at how much I forgot about the movie. That's how little stuck with me in the 2 years since I last watched it. 9 Lives is one of those movies that seems unsure of what its audience is. There are large chunks of this movie spent in business meetings and watching backdoor dealings take place, using Wall Street and big company terminology. It almost feels like script pages from an Oliver Stone movie accidentally got mixed in with the 9 Lives screenplay. Don't you know all 10-year-olds have a subscription to The Economist? So much time is devoted to Spacey and his fellow men in suits wanting to make a building taller. Riveting cinema right there. Through most of the film, Spacey is in a recording studio and made to deliver his lines in a very deadpan manner. It's hard not to compare it to Garfield, and I'll say it, I got far more enjoyment out of the live-action CG Garfield movies. They weren't great, but they still found a lot more creative things for its titular feline star to do. In this movie, the cat gets drunk and urinates on a rug and then later in a purse. Comedy? One positive I'll give 9 Lives is how the daughter's written. Oftentimes in these kinds of movies, the children of the main character will hate them because they're often at their job, working incredibly hard to put food on the table, you ungrateful twerps. In this movie, the daughter is aware her father is the CEO of a major business company and has many priorities and responsibilities. She actually understands the immense pressure her father is under, and despite all of that, he takes the time to go to a pet store to buy her a cat, even though he expresses how much he dislikes cats. The young actress that gets to play her also looks exactly like Jennifer Garner, who plays the mother, so spot-on casting. Instead, it's the older, grown-up son who's vying for his father's attention and acknowledgement. That's kind of a twist on the formula, but it's also an example of how the movie has so much going on. It wants to focus on the business aspect of the plot, the father-daughter relationship, his relationship with his wife, and the wacky talking cat hijinks, and has trouble dividing time between these elements. Also, Christopher Walken shows up in a supporting role, I assume playing the same character from Click. They basically serve the same function within the story. Overall, 9 Lives is just a movie that's confused who to pitch towards, and most disappointing of all, is not all that funny. Again, I'm curious why Barry Sonnenfeld signed on to direct. Thankfully, the film's box office failure and largely negative reviews has not had much effect on his career. Currently, he's heavily involved in the Series of Unfortunate Events television series for Netflix, which does have a lot of fans and seems better suited to his sensibilities. Anyway, let me know what you think of 9 Lives, and thank you for the request, Ryan.